There were 5 books that shaped my faith when I wasn't even sure if I believed in God. Here's a quick look at 2 of them, and trust me, the top 3 game changers. Number 5, The Reason for God by Tim Keller. This book made me wrestle with the hard questions about faith and doubt. It didn't just challenge me, it made me think deeply about why belief in God actually makes sense. Number 4, Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. This one took those questions even deeper. Lewis has a way of making complicated ideas simple, and it pushed me to really think about what it means to follow Jesus. It's a classic for a good reason. Now it's time to share my top 3. These books, they didn't just challenge me, they transformed my life. Number 3, The Insanity of God by Nick Ripken. This book shook me. Story after story of God's people around the world facing persecution, even death, and yet persevering with unshakable faith. It reminded me that persecution, it tries to silence the good news of Jesus, but our mission remains: make him known, and we don't do it alone. Jesus is with us, giving us the strength and power to be his witnesses no matter the cost. Number 2, Discovering the Mission of God. This book led me to the insanity of God, but it did something bigger. It gripped my heart for God's mission. I realized that sharing the good news of Jesus, it's not just for missionaries overseas, it's for all of us, anytime, anywhere. It opened my eyes to the deep need of people all around the world. Unreached and unengaged groups of people, especially in the 1040 window where over 3 billion people still have little to no access to the gospel. And I learned something surprising. Missionaries, they don't ask for resources first, they ask for prayer. This book transformed how I see discipleship and God's mission, both to my neighbors and to the nations. And number 1 is a teeny tiny book, All of Grace by Charles Spurgeon. This one changed my life forever. I grew up in the church. I thought I was a Christian because I did Christian things. But the truth, I didn't know Jesus. I never confessed him as Lord or truly believed that God raised him from the dead. Eventually, I just walked away from the faith. Then one night, alone in a hotel room, everything changed. I had just finished reading The Reason for God and Mere Christianity. I was convinced God existed, but why would he accept me? All of Grace answered that question. It showed me that all my works, all my effort to earn God's approval were worthless. It wasn't about what I could do. It was about what Jesus had already done. His life, his death, his resurrection were the only way to be made right with God. That night, I stopped trusting in myself and I started trusting in Jesus. The great exchange where Jesus' perfect life was credited to a sinner like me took place. I repented of my sin and I trusted in Jesus. This book will always be number 1 because it's where my life was transformed from being a worshiper of self to a worshiper of God. These books, they didn't just influence me. They shaped my faith. They shaped my purpose. If you're wrestling with doubt, searching for direction, or just curious about how God can transform a life, maybe one of these books will meet you where you are. Thanks for watching. And if this connected with you, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.